In the rewrite tonight, once again, America's longest war. A $1 trillion failed policy that has produced murder and mayhem here and abroad for over 40 years. The war on drugs. That's the name that President Nixon gave to this war before he was forced to resign the presidency under the threat of impeachment in the Watergate scandal. The war on drugs turned out to be one that all subsequent presidents could not resist continuing to fight. And of course, it is not a war on drugs. It is a war on drug dealers and drug users, but we don't want to call it that because we know who the drug users are. The drug users are our children. The drug users are our sisters, our brothers. They are our fathers. They are our mothers. They are otherwise law-abiding Americans who use marijuana to as much intoxicating effect as a glass of wine, and they are Wall Street cocaine users, and some of them are tragically, fatally, heroin addicts. The addicts need help, not a prison sentence. The addicts need treatment. We have the resources to provide that treatment for addicts who can't afford it, but we waste that money trying to arrest them and to imprison them. And so some of us publicly and in some cases passionately insist that the war on drugs is a failure, but we don't get to say it directly to one of the generals conducting that war. Yesterday, Congressman Steve Cohen of Tennessee did exactly that in an extraordinary exchange in a congressional hearing. I have heard no member of Congress more forcefully and effectively describe the madness of the war on drugs in a congressional setting. He brought intelligence and compassion and his life experience to everything he had to say. Congressman Cohen will be my next guest, but first, you must listen to him speak for so many of us directly to the leaders of the war on drugs.
I would submit, with all due respect to my fellows on the other side, that schizophrenia, which my father was a psychiatrist and taught me something about, could be described as a party that talks about saving money all the time and being concerned with deficits and being totally driven by that, but not being concerned in saving money when people are in jail for marijuana and mandatory minimums that judges have said were awful, and for nonviolent first-time offenders who are serving lifetime sentences in jail, costing us $30,000 a year, and the population of jails has gone up 800% in the last 30 years. That's schizophrenia. You're concerned about cost and cutting costs, but not when it's jailing a population. Mr. Bottecilli, your hands are tied on Schedule 1, but it is ludicrous, absurd, crazy to have marijuana in the same level as heroin. Ask the late Philip Seymour Hoffman if you could. Nobody dies from marijuana. People die from heroin. And every second that we spend in this country trying to enforce marijuana laws is a second that we're not enforcing heroin laws. And heroin and meth are the two drugs that are ravaging our country. And every death, including Mr. Hoffman's, is partly the responsibility of the federal government's drug priorities for not putting total emphasis on the drugs that kill, that cause people to be addicted and have to steal to support their habit. And heroin and meth is where all of your priorities should be. Heroin is getting into the arms of young people. And when we put marijuana on the same level as heroin and LSD and meth and crack and cocaine, we are telling young people not to listen to the adults about the ravages and the problems, and they don't listen because they know you're wrong. With all due respect, you should be listening to scientists. I understand the parents who are grieved because their child died of an overdose. They didn't overdose on marijuana. And you're listening to them rather than the scientists? Mr. Bottecilli, it may go back to A Few Good Men, the movie, Jack Nicholson. You can't handle the truth. The truth is the drug war failed. Your direction on marijuana is a failure. Get to dealing and saving kids from heroin overdoses. Now, you talked about alcohol, and you may have gotten to this. Cirrhosis of the liver, pretty serious thing. Violence against spouses and women. People don't smoke marijuana and beat up their wives and girlfriends. They get drunk. Sometimes they beat up their wives and girlfriends. Maybe the reason there's so many more people smoking marijuana now is because they're not listening. And maybe they're doing the other drugs too. But it also shows that the drug war has been a failure. It's been a serious failure.
Congressman Steve Cohen, I can tell you, you are getting teary-eyed standing ovations in living rooms around the country right now. We're going to talk about this coming back in a minute. Thank you very much for your words. We're going to be back with Congressman Steve Cohen.